Hello everybody, my name is Poe, and today we're taking a look at some submissions to CGC that I'll be sending off pretty soon. But first, I want to give a little explanation of why I'm sending to CGC instead of PSA. So if you watched one of my previous Guess That Grade videos, I sent off a bunch of cards to PSA. This card came back as a PSA 4. Let me know what you think, but this does not look anything close to a 4, in my opinion. So I sent it off to get regraded by CGC. This was the main reason that just PSA not only messed up this card, but there was another card that had like a piece of debris inside of the case that came back from the same order. So they messed up, two cards from the same order. This is an order that I paid like $200 per card. It was a Super Express option. This is before they increased their prices. But yeah, that just really left a bad taste in my mouth with PSA. That I'm spending all this money, and they can't get their shit right. So, and personally, I've always liked CGC cases the best of the the big three: PSA, BGS, and CGC. Yeah, that's just me. So, with that out of the way, let's get into it. So I have about 70 something cards I'm going to be sending off. So I think we'll start with the standard ones. So about 50 bulk cards I'll be sending, and then about, I think, 25 standard ones. So I have 4 of these EVV Max from the Shining Fates Elite Trainer box. I think most of these, it's kind of hard to see the centering, but it looks maybe a little bit off. I mean, these cards are pretty good condition. I think there's one of them with a little white speck, but I'm expecting probably 9, 9.5, maybe even a 10 out of these 4. They're all basically the same, so I'm not sure. I think it'll be kind of interesting to see the differences between the two that CGC will see, but that's a that's a tongue twister. That I'm curious to see the differences between these 4 cards that CGC will be able to see, that I won't be able to. So there's the card with a white dot on it. That's just a little missing spot in the ink. Yeah, all of these look roughly the same to me, at least. I think this one, the centering is off as well. It just looks thicker on this side from the edge that I can see. Yeah, so 4 of those. And then I'll get a Mega Charizard EX that I'll be sending off from Evolutions. Now this one, I honestly don't know how they grade the centering. I feel like you can barely see. There's like one edge there. I'm assuming they have some method to measure that. But everything else in this card looks pretty immaculate. At least from what I can see through the camera. Yeah, that's always the thing. The camera doesn't show everything. And my setup doesn't really allow me to see what I'm doing besides through the camera. This one, I think the centering is off just a little bit. It's a Rainbow Rare Marnie from Sword and Shield base set. Don't see any whitening. Let's see. No. So I'm expecting most of these ones I'm sending to get through the standard submission will be 9, 9.5 or 10. It should be. I think the centering is off top to bottom just a little bit on this one, so maybe a 9 on this card. It's a Lily from Sun and Moon base set. And looks like we have a Sonia full art from the Rebel Clash. This one, the centering looks just a smidge off from left or right. Other than that, it looks pretty good. We got two Bulbasaur, Holo Bulbasaurs from the McDonald's 25th anniversary for Pokemon. Both of these, let's see, centering looks pretty decent, maybe a little bit off left or right for both of these, I think. Then the back, that corner has a little nick on it. Yeah, other than that, that one looks good. Let's see. So yeah, those two look pretty good. We have a Sylveon GX from Hidden Fates, or is it Shining Legends? I think it's Hidden Fates. This is one I pulled myself on video. It was a great pull. Yeah, I love this card. I was gonna try and buy one myself, but then I ended up pulling it. Yeah, this one looks great. If I got a 10 on this, I would be, amazed. This one's definitely going into my collection. Let's see. So we have both a Japanese and English version Pokekid. I pulled the Japanese one in my Shiny Star V opening. I think the centering's off a little bit left or right. And on the back, I don't see any whitening on this one. And I really suck at grading centering on the back, but the Japanese cards, their print quality is generally better than English, so I just say, as long as there's no whitening on the back, then it should be fine. That's my method. The English Pokekid, so I ordered this along with Full Art Skyla, because I opened a ton of Shining Fates ETBs. As you can see, I have like 1, 2, 3 ETBs in my new background there. I think I have a fourth one somewhere. But yeah, and I never got either of these, but it's alright. Let's see, I think the centering's off on this one a little bit too, left or right. The back looks good. I think the centering is off yet again, left or right on this one. It's maybe a 9, probably on the lower end for that one. Then we have the Skyla. The centering was a little bit weird. I think left or right, it's off a little bit. On the back, you can see right here, it's a little bit off. But everything else looks good, so I can safely say that I'll get at least a 9, probably 9.5. Alright, Cogus Golbat. So I do have a couple of vintage cards, not in this standard one. I think this is the only vintage card I'm sending via the standard option. But first edition Cogus Golbat from, I think, Pokemon Gym Challenge or Gym Heroes. I always get those two mixed up. The centering, this one looks fantastic. There's barely any white. There's a tiny dot in the corners there and down here. That one looks fine. I think the edges are pretty clean on this card. And the centering is also very solid. So, hoping for pretty good things from this card. It's a very good quality first edition that I've got in my collection recently. Let's see, we have a Charizard Gx. This is a promo from the Hidden Fates tins. The centering, I'm going to be honest, I'm really bad guessing the centering on these things. It looks fine, I guess. I don't know. The back, the centering looks pretty good. Maybe a little, just a tiny bit, top to bottom. Yeah, there's no whitening. Edges are clean. Another 9.5 there. Pikachu VMAX. Got two of these. I think I pulled one and bought the other, if I'm not mistaken. See, this one, the centering is pretty good. I don't see any major difference down here between these two sides. I don't see any whitening on this one either. If I got a 10 from one of these, I would be absolutely amazed, especially a CGC 10. You know, that actually means something compared to PSA. This one, the centering is definitely off left or right. And I think we got a little bit edge wear. So yeah, if I'm gonna get a 10, it's from that one. This one, still not in bad condition. Looks like the centering's off top to bottom though. Next up, I have 3 Charizard Vs from Darkness Ablaze. I pulled out my entire collection of these. I'm gonna get them sent off. There is some edge wear at the top of this one, so I could possibly get an 8, since that is pretty noticeable. So I wouldn't be surprised if I got an 8. I think the centering is a little bit off, maybe not. Yeah, I think that one's good. Let's get next up. See, I don't know what the deal is with these, but I just see like this thin, like white line. Maybe it's because of the black and it just stands out so much more. So I'm not sure if that's like actually edge wear or what, but I guess we'll find out when we get them back. When the edge comes back, it's something horrible. All 3 of these look pretty decent shape. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we got some 8s out of these 3 though. Maybe a 9 or 9.5. Yeah, see, there it is again. That's why it makes me think that it's not edge wear, or just, you know, just because it's black and white stands out more. All of these look just about the same. I don't see any whitening on them. And next up, another Evolutions card, Misty's Determination. Centering looks good. I think I see a little bit of edge wear at the top and on the side. Everything else looks good. No whitening that I can see. Yeah. Lastly, we have another full art trainer, Mallow from Guardians Rising. I think the centering is pretty spot on this card. And some dust. Yeah, I think this could potentially. Oh, it's a tiny white speck. So I'm thinking maybe 9.5. This one looks pretty solid. The centering is very good on this one. Alright, so got through the standard submissions. I'm gonna try to go a little bit faster with the bulk ones because there's 50 of them. We're already like 12 minutes into this video. So, big stack. All of these are modern and or vintage. Well, those are the only 2 options. I don't know why I said that, but yeah. Centering looks good. It's a Jirachi Amazing Rare. Most of these, the centering should be pretty good. That's why I picked them to get sent off. So I'm just gonna kind of blaze through them real quick. Get Vivid Voltage, Alakazam V Full Art. Pretty clean. Got a Leon Full Art Trainer. As you can see, I'm sending off a lot of Full Art Trainer cards. And I think, you know, as a collection, they would look really cool together. Next up, I am sending, so I'd like, this is a pretty cheap card. I think I bought them for like $1 each, but I kind of want to start a Meloetta graded card collection. Both of these have a little bit of whitening, so I'm expecting maybe an 8. Could possibly both of those. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to expect, but everything else looks good on those. Next up, I have a vintage Ryko non-holo rare. It's a card I picked up off of TCG Player, I believe. It's actually in pretty good condition, surprisingly. I think the centering's off a little bit, top to bottom, but expecting good things from that one. Next up, we have a what is this? What is this? Hidden Fates ETB promo card here. Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno. Pretty clean. Yep. And we got a Gengar EX from, I think it was Phantom Forces. This is a really cool looking card. It's got a lot of colors, a lot going on, and pretty good condition. So I figured I'd send it off to get graded. Next up, we got a Solgaleo. This is a card I pulled from one of my Ultra Prism box openings. Yeah, put it into a sleeve immediately. So it should be pretty pristine. And next up, I have a base set Holo Zapdos. I think this is one that was in my previous guess that grade. I was going to send it off, but all this whitening kind of scared me. And at the time, PSA's submission rates and their turnaround times were like too long. It was too expensive, so I decided against it. But now that I'm with CGC, I'll pretty much send anything off if I think it's worth grading. Next up, Japanese Shiny Star V Kyogre Amazing Rare. Cool card. Another Amazing Rare. The English version, Vivid Voltage Rayquaza. Very cool card. This is one that I personally just want to have encapsulated. It's kind of disappointing that Jesse and James, I think even Ash, I don't even think Ash has his own card, but I feel like the actual anime characters should get a little bit more representation. I think back in the day with like Gym Heroes and stuff, that was like the peak of what we saw, but since then I haven't really seen much. I have a more Pico VMAX Rainbow Rare from a Sword and Shield base set. Next up is for my personal collection. I got a Mawile GX. It's one of my favorites, so I'll be sending that off. See what I get. Another personal collector card. Gardevoir and Sylveon, two Pokemon I'm pretty fond of. Diagon Gx, another card I pulled from my Ultra Prism box opening. Go and check that out. It's some pretty good pulls out of that series. Let's see, got a Hop Champion's Path Full Art. I don't remember where I got him from. I think I pulled him, or it might have been from like a mystery box or something. Yeah, people, I don't think people like Hop all that much. Because he is, I think, even at a 10, he's like $60 tops. Which is kind of sad. We have a Japanese Shiny Star V, Galarian Rapidash. I think the centering is pretty noticeably off left to right on this one, but it is a pretty card, so I'll be grading it. Another Amazing Rare. I'm pretty fond of these new Amazing Rares that came out, so I'm trying to get as many grades as I can. Turn to this VMAX. So I have an extra one laying around. It's pretty good condition, so sending it off. Another Shiny Star V, Shiny Ditto V. Pretty good condition, no print errors that I can see. Shiny Star V, Ditto VMAX, non-shiny. Back into some vintage cards. Giovanni's Pinsir from Gym Challenge, I believe. Yeah, this is a very clean looking card. As old as it is, maybe it's a tiny nick in that corner. I'm expecting a pretty good grade from this one. Got another Hidden Fates card here, Diagon Gx. Pretty good condition. This is another card that I find cool. I don't think I could find any price info on it, or at least nothing like recent, but it is a cool card. Yeah, it's a little bit edgy. It's kind of got Greninja and Zoroark in there, but I think it's pretty cool looking, so I wanted to get it graded. Next up, this is from the recent $250 mystery box I did. You get a General Mills Pikachu out of it. I think expect a pretty high grade from this. I think the only thing wrong with it was the centering on the front might be the tad bit off, left or right, but still pretty good condition. If that does get like a 9.5 or 10 though, that's a couple $100, which I think will pay for the mystery box itself, which would be pretty sweet. Next up, I have 6 cards from the premium file. Was it Neo Genesis, I believe? Yeah, I opened up one of the premium files. It was like a promo binder that they came out with back in the day. Yeah, they have the old school Japanese card backs. And each of these are in pretty good condition. I think there's a little bit of whitening in the corners. The centering's just a little bit off, but these are cards I'll just be adding to my collection. Not planning on selling. A lot of these I'll be keeping. There's a few that I am interested in selling. We got Croconaw. The whole gang's here. So I've actually already sent off the final evolutions, Typhlosion, for Alligator, and shoot, what's her name? Meganium. Sent them off with a previous like express order. It's a little bit more expensive, and I wanted to do a video on those, but yeah, the centering is way off in this one, top to bottom and left to right. But yeah, I wanted to get that sent off as soon as possible. I think I actually managed to get it sent off before CGC increased their turnaround times, which is nice. I think the rest of these are all vintage. Yes, they are. Alright, cool. So we have a Sabrina's Golduck. Not in the best condition. The centering is pretty solid, but there is definitely some whitening. See if I can find it. Yeah, the camera really makes these look good. Oh, there it is. See, it's missing a little bit of ink right there. It's a little chip. And right up there, a little white nick. Otherwise, pretty good condition. I'm expecting maybe an 8 from that one. A Mew promo. I forget where this is from. I think it's like the Battle League or something like that. But it's a pretty cool looking card. The back is not in the best condition. Definitely a lot more whitening than any of the other cards in this submission. Oh yeah, these corners are all messed up. So I'm thinking I just want that encapsulated, really. I'm not expecting that good of a grade. Miro promo, also from the Battle League. I think in a similar condition as the Mew. Some whitening there. Some whitening there. All along the top. Yeah, still overall good condition. Okay, first edition Neo Genesis Phanpy. Centering is pretty solid and it's in fairly good condition. I think there's a little nick in that corner. Yeah. A vintage card. It's pretty good condition. Misty's Wish. I just like the artwork on this one. I don't think the condition is particularly that great. It's not bad, but there's a little bit of whitening in that corner. And there was some more from what I remember. Maybe not. But yeah. That'll be a cool card for my collection. And then we have Brock's Protection, first edition. This shirt says Rocky on it. I think that was cool. Yeah, this one definitely has a little bit of whitening along the edge there too, and up here, and along the side. So the edge is pretty rough, the corners a little rough, but the centering is pretty solid. I think the surface is also pretty clean. We have a Neo Revelations, I believe, Aerodactyl. This is pretty cool artwork. It's in very good condition. A little bit of whitening right there, but otherwise not bad. Next up we have a Bayleaf. A lot of Gen 2 stuff in this submission pile, but this one pretty good condition. I don't think there's any whitening. Maybe just a tiny nick in this corner. Yeah, not bad. This Skarmory, I think, is very cool. Like, it's not hollow, but the way like the background is like the sheet metal because it's a steel type, it almost makes it look shiny. And it's a really pretty card in my opinion. I don't think it's valued that high. There's a little nick in that corner, but I just like the way it looks. Next up we have a couple of unknown cards, which I've always thought were pretty cool. Unknown U from Neo Discovery. It's a pretty good condition. Centering's good. Might be a little bit of whitening, but that's alright. Next up we have Unknown K from Neo Revelation, I think. I always get those mixed up, but sure, one of the Neo sets. That's all that matters. Next up we have some Holo cards, which are pretty exciting. There's a couple of scratches on the Holo, but not too bad. And I think there's some whitening on the back. I'm expecting possibly a 7, 8, maybe lower, but we'll see what we get. See, yeah, so a little bit of whitening there and along this corner. But still a pretty cool card. Next up we have a first edition Misty's Tentacruel Holo Rare from Gym Heroes. I think the centering is maybe a little bit off. I'm trying to avoid the glare. But yeah, there's a ton of whitening on this. So I'm thinking this will get a 7 or lower, 7 max. But still a cool card, so I wanted to get it encapsulated. Next holo, also a first edition, Gym Heroes, Erica, trainer card. Very cool, but a lot of whitening. So I'm not expecting a whole lot from that. We got a Cogus Beedrill holo rare from Gym Challenge. There's a little bit of a hollow spiral there. Very pretty. And the back looks pretty clean too. Just the tiniest bit of whitening in one of the corners. So that'll be a pretty cool card to have in my collection. We have Sabrina's ESP, the first edition Gym Heroes. And the whitening on this is pretty bad, but it's a cool card, so I wanted to get it encapsulated. I think there's only 2 left. We have Brock's Vulpix here, first edition. Centering is pretty solid. Just a little bit of whitening in the corners. It's not too bad. It's maybe an 8, 8.5. I don't know if they do 8.5s, but I don't think there's gonna make it to a 9. And last we have a Neo Genesis Onyx first edition. Pretty cool card, just Onyx lurking in a cave. There's a lot of dust on my desk, I think. It's getting all over the protectors. But the whitening's not too bad. Maybe along the top there's a little bit there. Right there. But yeah, so I think we have some pretty solid cards that we're sending off. It's definitely going to be expensive, but I think most of these are. I tried to pick the best condition cards I had. So I'm trying to get pretty much everything graded that I have right now. So I've been saving up a lot of stuff for the past couple months. And when I decided to make the final switch to CGC, it just made sense to send it all before they increase their prices as well, and their turnaround times get unbearably long like PSA. But yeah, that is all that I had for today. I hope you enjoyed. It was a little bit of a longer video, a lot of talking, but got to see some pretty cool cards, I think. And yeah, if you liked it, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.